To another episode of Buckets Rants. In today's video, we're going to be doing a Bucketology video. This is a new series I'm going to be doing on this channel. We're going to be ranking NBA players by tiers. We've done the player comparison videos. We will continue to do player comparison videos, but this will be a stem off for us to start doing players by positions and overall the top players in the league. I'm going to break it down into several tiers where we can really get a landscape of what the league looks like right now. This NBA season, injured players will be included basically with how good they were when we last saw them in the league. So obviously a guy like Kevin Durant missed the entire season this year. We're going to go based on what we saw last year. There will be a little bit of benefit of the doubt being given to these injured players because obviously they are injured or they're not at 100%, but we know how good they could be when they were healthy. Without further ado, let's get into it. This season will be a large emphasis in these rankings. We'll also look at what these players have done in the recent past, maybe last year, the year before that. The past couple years will be factored into this player's body of work. We're going to get into the A tier, and in the A tier we have superstars. Okay, these are players you can build a championship team or a championship contender around, with them being the undisputed best player. Then the A plus tier is the king of the sport, the undisputed best player in the game. LeBron James has been that for about close to a decade now, but in this NBA season, after being injured last year in 2019 and now in 2020, he's trying to get that crown as the best player in the league. He may be the best player in the league. I believe personally he is the best player in the league, but I don't think it's undisputed. I don't think he's at a level where he's just the absolute clear-cut king of the sport above everyone else. So he is in the A tier, and these are players that are in the conversation for the best in the game, the ideal best player in a championship team. And these players, I have Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Kevin Durant and Steph Curry have both played on the same team. They won an NBA championship together, multiple NBA championships together. Steph Curry won a championship in 2015 as a driving force of his team. Kawhi Leonard with the Raptors last year won a championship as a driving force of his team. And LeBron James has won 3 NBA championships. He's been to 9 NBA finals as a driving force best player of his team. Kevin Durant has never been the undisputed best player on his team and won a championship, but we've seen Kevin Durant win 2 NBA Finals MVPs. We've seen him put up big-time numbers in those finals, as well as the 2012 NBA Finals, where he's putting up 30-plus points, doing it efficiently, and filling out a really complete game, really showing up at the highest level. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the only player in this tier without an NBA championship, and he's probably the closest player to this A- tier that we're going to get into next. But if I had to put him in one, either the A- or the A, I'm still going to put him in the A. He is the driving force of the team that has the best record in the league right now, and if the NBA season did continue, I believe Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks would be in the NBA Finals. And they still could if the season comes back. I think they're the best team in the East. I think he is the best player, healthy player in the Eastern Conference. So I mean, obviously the playoffs did not go exactly according to plan last year with the Toronto Raptors. They built that wall and everything, multiple guys on him, and they underperformed. But he is the MVP. He won it last year. He's going to win it again this year. He's one of the top defensive players in the league. If I want to build a championship team, I still think he can get it done as the best player on that team. Moving on to the A- tier. This is elite superstars you can build a championship contender around, but I don't think they're quite at the level of the guys in the clear-cut flat A tier. This is Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, Luka Doncic, James Harden, Paul George, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic. This is a bigger tier that really encompasses all the rest of the superstars in the NBA. You've got Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Russ, and Luka and Harden, which are the guards. Okay, and Dame and Kyrie, we talked about them in the last player comparison video. They're both elite bucket generators that can shoot and score the ball from basically anywhere on the court. Luka Doncic is a sophomore player that's already an MVP candidate that could do some great bucket generating. We did Luka versus Harden in the video before that, so we know those guys are both elite superstars. Russell Westbrook, although he does have some flaws with his decision making, with his ability to shoot from range, he's still a very complete player, a very good player, definitely a superstar. Paul George, he's a great two-way player on the wing, and we've seen him lead a team to the the Eastern Conference Finals before, but it's been so long since he's done that. After that big catastrophic injury for Team USA, Paul George not let his team out of the first round of the playoffs, but I do believe if you give him a solid team, they can make some sort of noise, but they wouldn't be a championship level team. Anthony Davis hasn't had proper help and supporting cast. His guys have been in and out of the lineup. He's been in and out of the lineup the past couple of years. So he has made it to the second round of the playoffs as the driving force of his team, but nothing further than that. He wouldn't be my ideal piece, even though I do believe he's the best big man in basketball. He is still a big, and in the modern NBA, you really want the players that are your best players to be the guys bringing the ball up the court, running the show, etc. He's not that. Jokic does do that as a big man, but he just doesn't score the ball well enough, and he doesn't defend at a great level for a center, which is kind of hard. But he does provide a lot. He brings a lot to the table as a superstar. And Joel Embiid's a great two-way big, but those players are not ideal pieces I would build a championship squad around. Moving on to the B tier. These are complementary all-star level players. There is a plus and minus in this tier, but they're a lot more gray than the A tier. The A tier, the A plus to the A minus are very clear cut. Okay, for the most part. Giannis was kind of on the fence a little bit, and James Harden and Anthony Davis could make a push to the A tier, but they're just not quite there. For the B tier, I put these guys more of on similar levels. These are guys that are complementary all-star level players. They're better suited as a number 2 or even number 3 option on a contender. And the examples of these type of players include Chris Paul, Karl-Anthony Towns, Trae Young, Jason Tatum, Pascal Siakam, Chris Middleton, Klay Thompson, Kemba Walker, Zion Williamson, and Ben Simmons. Those are just to name a couple. I could go all day naming a good amount of players that are in that tier, and eventually in a future video I probably will, but those are just an outline to give you some examples of players that would be in that tier, that B tier. These are guys, again, that are not going to be your best player on the team that's expected to go anywhere that far in the playoffs, or consistently with an average NBA roster, but they could be really, really good complementary players. Pascal Siakam and Kyle Lowry were both complementary players on a championship Raptors team last year. Chris Middleton's a great complementary player on one of the best teams, the best record in the NBA. Klay Thompson's a great complementary player, and he's won multiple championships, being a second and third option for the Golden State Warriors. You go down the line. Those are all great talents, great players, big time impact guys. Moving on to the C and final tier, these are the rising stars that aren't quite there yet, and we have the elite role players who are stars, but stars in their own role, not really all-star level type guys like that were in the B tier, a rung below that, but still very, very good contributors to winning on winning teams, or on a bad team they could even have a bigger role and be more of a centerpiece feature guy, but your team's not expected to really go anywhere. And guys that are in this C tier include Lonzo Ball, Marcus Smart, Andrew Wiggins, Spencer Dinwiddie, Clint Capella, DeJounte Murray, Lou Williams, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. These are some guys that they're valuable, and they can do a lot of things for you, but they're not quite doing it at that all-star level quite yet, but they really are impactful. You look at Marcus Smart, one of the top defenders. He's an elite defender in this league. Lonzo Ball, he defends, he rebounds, a great playmaker. He sets the tone in a lot of ways for the New Orleans Pelicans, despite them having other more all-star level players like Drew Holiday, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. He really sets the tone as well for that basketball team. Spencer Dinwiddie is a huge impact guy off the bench. We already know what Lou Williams brings as a closer, as a guy you can put the ball in his hands and make something happen. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a versatile guard that can do a lot of different things out there on the court, but they're not quite doing it at that all-star level. So that's really the Bucketology breakdown for you guys of the 3 tiers: A tier, B tier, and C tier. That's more so how I rank players. You guys know I like to rank players more so by tiers, because there is a little bit of gray area, there is a little bit of subjectivity in ranking players, saying, oh, this guy's better than this guy, depending on what you value. But around that tier is really where these players are when it comes to value in comparison to their peers. This is really important when you're talking about looking at how good an NBA roster is, and picking who you think is going to win a particular series, because you look at these guys, okay, this guy's around the same level as this guy, but this guy is a superstar. This guy on this team can really put his team over the top, where this guy doesn't have that ability on the other team. So that's really what I'm looking at when it comes to this bucketology. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this tier ranking. We're going to have videos for each position: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. I'm going to be doing a couple other things with these tier rankings. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm out.